Get ready to hide under your bed because I'm coming in hot to share a nightmare that haunts me and lives in my head rent free. Once upon a Starbucks, there was a young teenager who once in a while spends $5 on a cup of heavenly diabetes and sits for hours on end to do work. But this specific story focuses on a day this fool sat to draw in the same local Starbucks in the summer of 2015. Yes, that fool was me. Now, it may be hard to even imagine sitting indoors, but trust me, back in my day, it was possible. So I'm sitting there drawing on one of those huge shared tables where Siddhartha forbid, sadly 6 feet apart in personal space, didn't exist, and an older male leans in and asks what I was drawing. Now, I'm no Stephen Hawking, so of course my dumbass would go talk to strangers and not listen to what every parent tells their 5-year-old child. But this guy was no Stephen Hawking either, because when I told him I was drawing Jackie Chan, he said, "No, you're drawing George Lopez. That looks like George Lopez." Excuse him. First of all, was he the one drawing? No, it was me, and I'm drawing Jackie Chan. And second of all, this is literally what my paper looked like when he asked, and this doesn't look like anyone. So how could he tell me that it goddamn looks like Mr. Electric? Also, a little side note, the man who talked to me frequented that Starbucks with his friends, and it's not hard for anyone who goes to that Starbucks to recognize the same group of men who play chess the same spot every day. So back to my tale. As soon as I was finished explaining who I was trying to draw, I thought our conversation came to an end, but I was wrong. I always thought the saying, "some people don't get the hint," was just a myth, but some people don't actually get the hint. Here I am focusing on drawing with earbuds in my ear, and he kept calling my name. Yes, you heard it correctly. Yes, you heard it correctly. I gave him my real name instead of a fake one in our previous conversation. Sue me, I'm not good at lying on spot. Anyways, it was a constant cycle of him asking me a bunch of questions, me answering vaguely, putting back my earphones and drawing while he plays chess, then him calling my name or tapping on my shoulder, and me taking off my earphones to respond. Some questions I remember were like if I played sports or any instruments. After I would answer, he would answer his own questions back. At one point, he brought up that he dabbled in the arts himself and he draws too, but mainly scenery. Now, because he was with his 3 other companions playing chess, at one point they all changed seats and he sat in front of me, was the most blissful moments of that day. Of course, it was ruined when he started trying to talk to me behind my laptop screen. But since he couldn't tap on my shoulder anymore and his friends didn't seem to care to help him to bother me, I pretended that my music was too loud and I couldn't hear him. But man, this self-proclaimed bootleg Bob Ross would not give up. I could see, in part of my peripheral vision, he reached out his arms and tapped the table or waved his hand in front of my laptop screen. I could swear to you my neck problems probably started that day because I stiffed my head to not move away from my drawing, just so I could pretend that I didn't notice he was trying to get my attention. I really thought that if I kept ignoring him, he would give up and leave me alone, but nope. His last resort led him to push down the top of my monitor to kinda close it so I would see it. Inside, I was fuming with annoyance because this man had the audacity to touch my laptop. He proceeded by saying, "When you finish your drawing, you have to show me, okay? You can't leave without showing me." And I said okay awkwardly. He continued his chess game and left me alone for the remainder of the time, and I finished up my not so great drawing of the Chan Chan man. Right when I finished, I had this moment in thought whether I was obligated to show him this drawing. Because I did say I would, so I felt a little guilty going back on my word, but I didn't want to. Also, can you imagine how awkward that is? It's literally like me saying, "Hey, look at this, it's so good, I'm amazing, pick me, choose me, love me," to a complete stranger who I did not have any pleasant moments talking with. Also, let's be real, sometimes we say shit we don't mean, so there was also a little chance he didn't really care to see the drawing. So after a long 5-minute debate in my own head, I decided to leave quietly. But if you know me personally, I don't do anything quietly. So he noticed me packing up and stopped playing chess and said something along the lines of, "You're leaving already? Did you finish your drawing? Show me." So I did, just to get it over with, and he was like, wow, it looks great, giving me praises. And I'm not gonna lie, but at the time, it felt a little nice hearing that. Then it kind of got a little weird because he wanted to take a photo of my drawing, but he insisted I signed it first before he took the photo, which I did. Just when I thought I'd finally be able to go home, he stopped me again. I must be a bank to this dude because there was a lot of holdups. Remember when he told me that he draws too? Well, he wanted to show me his drawings, so he asked me for my phone number so he could text pics of them to me. No matter how little of an IQ you think I have, I didn't give him my number. When I refused, he really persisted that he wanted to show me these drawings, so I gave him my email that I mainly use for spam mail. So I finally go home, and the next day I got an email from him that read, "Hello Pin, how are you today? I am pleased to meet you in Starbucks yesterday. Here is a few of my drawings, or art you call. Hope we see each other one day and draw a joined one picture. Zico." And there's his number. And these are the pictures that were attached. I was actually surprised of how great of an artist he actually was. And I quickly changed all the bad impressions I had of him, and I replied back. Next thing you know, we constantly emailed each other back and forth, met up in the same Starbucks a few times, and even drew a picture together. And the crazy thing is, we started dating and I was in love. No, I'm kidding. If you don't know, I'm fucking messing with you. But he did send that email. Actually, he sent 2, and I didn't reply. I don't know what was going on in his head to think it was okay for a 60-year-old stranger to send drawings of bootleg hentai to a 17-year-old girl. Plus, he said he drew scenery, but there was only like 1 or 2 pictures of scenery. The rest were literally half-naked girls. That shit scared me. A few weeks later, I went back to the same Starbucks and I saw him and his friends playing chess from the window outside. So I did a 180 and I went home. I avoided that Starbucks for 2 whole years after that. Also, I don't have nightmares of this and I don't wake up screaming in the middle of the night thinking about this. So don't worry. I only brought up this story because I was trying to delete all my old irrelevant email and I came across the one he sent. That's about it. I don't have much interesting stories, but if I do think of any more, I'll try to make a video about it. So yeah. Thanks for listening. Oh, and if you're curious to see how my drawing of Jackie Chan looks like, I actually still have it. George Lopez, my ass!